Second is to appeal to you guys is doing stuff like this live right here, which tells you the real from the fake, right? The reality of my response to social media is we ignored it. We did not have a response. We kept pushing with our live. That does not matter to us, okay?
I will tell you that was from a PR perspective, it was the smart move on their part to not react to that.
The fake is if we're forced to be in a scene where we have to act like we have some kind of response. We don't have a response. Now, if that just costs us 4 or 5 scenes, fuck it. It is. It is what it is. But the bottom line is we're above that. Here, and guys, just journey with me through this analogy real quick. I compare going back and forth with Martell with me walking down the street and seeing a
basically what he's saying right here is if him filming a scene with Martell is the equivalent of him seeing some person walking down the street covered in nastiness. I mean, I just had to cut it out.
That says something offensive to me, trying to provoke me to fight. No, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to touch you. I don't want you around me. I don't want to share space with you. If you can say something and I can ignore it and go about my day because I actually have shit to do and let you sit over here and your shit, then that's fine. But there's nothing about that. There's no gain for me, right? There's literally, okay. If I sit down and me and Kimmy go back and forth, that's an exchange of wits. If I sit down with Reese, with anyone, I mean, I'm not gonna go against my wife, but if I sit down with anyone else on the show and we have a debate or whatever, then I'm okay with that because that could be a positive win for me or whatever. I'm gonna battle Martell and wits. What do I gain from it? What do I gain from a competition with Martell? Name one thing I get. Nothing. Is Coonan. He's saying the most outrageous stuff, doing the most outrageous things, trying to get attention. What he's really trying to do is get Ariane on the show.
Would y'all want to see Ariane on the show? Do you think that that's what Martell is hoping for?
And making it seem like she said stuff like, I don't watch the show, but y'all been talking about me for the last couple of years. The truth is no one's even talked about her, Martell cheating, or none of that shit for the last long period of time. No one's been talking about that for years. Mm-hmm. That has been talked about. The truth is, and I hate to say this, but this is the truth. I don't think outside of conflict that no one talks about him at all.
Right.
If he didn't say anything outlandish and make claims that he will insinuate like he messed around with Trish, I mean, he's not talking about wine, not talking about suits. And so right now, his goal to get a
Now, I will say they talk about how long the conversations surrounding Martell and Trish went on this season. And I would say that a lot of that was Trish's fault. Okay. Had Latricia just simply come out and said the exact thing that happened in the beginning, instead, what she did was she peeled back layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. Even now, we are just still getting to the bottom of the situation. The situation could have been cleared up a long time ago. So I do feel like that was the more interesting story for Martell. But what he did say, something that I felt like was also very true, is we did not see anything about, his wines, or we did not see anything about the suit collaborations. But we also don't know what was filmed and what was not edited into the show.
Okay, is to hitch himself to a conflict with me. I'll take a different kind of conflict. I don't want this conflict. I don't want the nonsense. I'm not saying production is doing anything different, but I'm saying is that production is a great people. I'm just talking about me. And if I was a lazy producer, then I wouldn't investigate people's lives, try to figure out what they're doing, how that interfaces with each other. I would just look on social media and basically let the first few episodes write themselves and just follow it. I call it following the reel, even though I'd have to recreate the reel. You know, I mean, and the truth is, if I was a lazy producer, I wouldn't care because I'm still getting paid. Whether the show sells or not, I get paid by the hour.
Okay, so here is where things get really interesting for me. Okay. Let's circle back to what I said earlier about the Sierra of it all. Okay. Now, it- oh, it's 11:11. Y'all make a wish. Okay. Make a little wish. Woo. Made my wish. All right. So listen. Um, here is oh, you're right. Martell did have an open house. Okay. That's right. That's right. I didn't see the bottle of wine there, but product placement. Okay. He did have that during the season. All right. So look, let's talk about the lazy producing of it all. So for me, this is fascinating because what I think they are listen, I can't be for certain. I would encourage you, if you're interested in this, to watch the entire live. There was a portion in there where Marceau definitely delivered a word, okay? A word about believing in yourself, but that's a different topic. Staying on topic though, is the idea that it's lazy to produce what happens on social media. Um, I think it's difficult to produce around it at times, right? So because the interview that Martell did with Arion, it kind of, it there was a lot of response to it in terms of people talking about it and whether or not the Scots should react at all, which I didn't think that they should. It's almost kind of like, well, how do we ignore the fact that this was done, right? Even if that is the strategy, right? Even if I'll put the alleged badge up here just for the sake of, but even if that was allegedly Martell's strategy was to get this onto the show, that doesn't mean that they're going to show Arion on the show. Um, they may just reference the interview, right? So what he's saying is this: a lazy producer would simply take that interview and then use that to then have the cast spark conversations with them about it, which they don't feel like doing because their real response in real life was to simply ignore it and move on. So if you see them having to hash that out again, what you will now see is a fake response because they've already in real time dealt with it in the way that they chose to. But again, with the reality TV of it all, it's a tricky situation because it's kind of like it feeds the show. The show feeds social media feeds the show, and the show feeds social media. So because of that interesting relationship, it's like, do you ignore this or not? I really think that it is up to the cast member to ignore it or not. So if someone says to you, well, yo, did you Martell's post on social media? Then the only thing that you give is you can give it nothing. That's it. I mean, I saw it. It meant nothing to me. And I moved on with my day. How are you?